State's Central London Hatchery and Conditioning Centre. Today is an important day for you, a day in which you will begin your predestinated life's work. An important work it is too, for here at the HCC, we play our part in controlling the world population of the future. Today, we will give you a general overview of the functioning of the hatchery. We shall begin at the beginning. Very good. The test tube. This contains a week's supply of ova, which are kept at blood heat in incubators, which you will view tomorrow when touring the center. And this contains the male gametes, which are stored at 35 rather than 37. Full blood heat sterilizes. The eggs, of course, are obtained from surgically removed ovaries, a voluntary operation done for the good of society and a bonus of 6 months' salary. Have any of you ladies yet volunteered for this operation? Bravo! It's pleasing to see the community spirit in one so young. Anyway, the eggs are immersed in a warm bouillon containing millions of free-swimming sperm cells. When fertilized, they are bottled. Alphas and betas for a full cycle, and gammas, deltas, and epsilons are brought out again in 36 hours to undergo Volkanovski's process.
Can you explain Volkanovski's process?
Of course I can, but I don't intend to. Open. This is our Mr. Foster of embryo development. Henry, a quick rundown on the Volkanovski, please.
Yes, Director. The genius of the Volkanovski process is simple, arrested development. By the means of X-rays, we cause the development of the egg to be arrested, causing the egg to bud. Several repetitions of this procedure can manufacture as many as 96 embryos from one egg.
You mean 96 identical twins?
Exactly. Science, working for the state. Not like in those old viviparous days, in which an embryo might accidentally divide and produce 2 or 3 pigling embryos. Of course, Volkanovskifying dilutes. The greater the quantity, the more inferior the product. We only hit 96 with epsilons.
Open. Epsilons. As you can see, they're smaller and stupider and only fit for the most menial work.
But if diluting the eggs creates an inferior product, then what's the point?
It's perfectly obvious. Are you sure you're an alpha?
Yes, sir.
Then kindly use your science-given alpha brains. The Volkanovski process is one of the major instruments of social stability. Standard men and women in uniform batches. Why, you ask? One egg can staff an entire factory. We have exactly the labor force we need. Open. This is Mr. Nero Smidt, assistant predestinator of the center.
Fully fertilized eggs are bottles, and all relevant statistics concerning the embryos are fed to EmbrComp, along with requirement data for the next 25 years. EmbrComp selects, organizes, and assigns the delivery of the embryos, noting the optimum decanting rate at any given moment, and also incorporating unforeseen wastage allowances.
Remember the overtime we put after the last Japanese earthquake, Nero?
Henry, it's getting late. We don't want anyone to miss the electromagnetic soccer finals, do we?
Sorry, sir.
The embryo bottles are sent to the correct conveyor belts in the social predestination room, where they will receive proper conditioning.
That'll do, Nero. Open. Miss Lenina Crowne, conditioning technician.
Hello, Lenina.
Henry,
Mr. Crowne, would you mind?
each embryo is fed at regulated hours on rich blood surveys. At meter, 200 sex identifications are carried out. 30% of females is allowed to develop normally. The others are sterilized to be decanted as free martins. Structurally quite normal and undetectable from other females.
Well, sometimes they grow beards.
They are guaranteed sterile, which, at last, has brought us out of the realm of slavery to nature and into the quality-controlled world of the true bottle baby.
As the embryo matures, it is conditioned for its appointed work. Epsilons as perhaps future sewage workers. Alphas as perhaps future directors of hatcheries.
Sweet. In addition to pre-decanting conditioning, behavioral pattern experts will, post-decanting, teach them to desire heat or weightlessness, as the case may be. We will now allow our hypnopedia expert, Bernard Marx, to explain more about post-decanting conditioning. By Ford, where is he?
Outrageous.
He knew exactly what time he was scheduled. Bernard Marx's nonconformity is reaching inexcusable levels. He is riding for a fall. Excuse me.
Should I meet at level 5? Near the launchpad? On the rooftop?
Yes, can we play obstacle golf? I got this new set of jet turbine clocks I'd really like to use.
Alright, if you like.
Okay.
I won't have individualistic behavior on my staff. By Ford, that Marx is going too far.
Do you suppose it's true what they say? Those rumors that someone put alcohol in his blood surrogate before he was fully decanted?
Nonsense. There are no mistakes in my hatchery. Even though with his behavior I can almost believe it is true.
I beg your pardon, Director.
Late again, Marx. Since your social engagements are scandalously few after hours, I can hardly imagine it could have kept you during work time.
We had a little trouble in conditioning. I was working with a 2-year-old Delta group when one of the electrical charges in one of the flowers evidently blew a fuse. It had to be fixed. I mean, we don't want our Delta children growing up without their anti-floral indoctrination now, do we?
Why not?
As Deltas are workers. Flowers are for the upper classes. I want to look into that man's records first thing tomorrow. As for you, Marx, I'm taking your card out of staff compute and watching it myself. All right, settle down.
It's okay, Bernard. That sort of thing can happen to anyone.
Lenina! You don't want to get mixed up with a fellow like Marx.
Henry, everyone belongs to everyone else. You know that.
He's too nonconformist. I'm thinking of you. It's bad for your reputation.
Oh, I know, Henry. You're far too socially stable to be jealous.
If you don't mind, we are conducting a training seminar here.
So, after decanting, the hypnopedia department takes over thought conditioning, teaching them to love their planned environment, their work, and their station in life. Tape?
Khaki and Delta children wear grey. Oh no, I don't want to play with Delta children, and Epsilons are still worse. They're too stupid to be able to read or write. Besides, they wear black, which is such a beastly color. I'm so glad I'm a beta.
You are listening to Elementary Class Prejudice, Beta Program 163B. This tape is sleep-fed to children from age 18 months.
Alpha children wear white. They work much harder than
120
we do
times,
because they're
3
so
times a week,
frightfully
until
clever.
the age of 30 months.
I'm really
after
awfully
which they
glad
move on
I'm
to
a
more
beta,
advanced lessons.
because I don't work so hard. And then we are much better than the gammas and deltas.
Stop
Gamma
it.
says,
This type of sleep indoctrination is called hypnopedia. First officially used in the year AF 240. A dropping of suggestions, night after night, suggestions that grasp themselves onto the unformed mind of the child, until finally...
And the sum of these suggestions is the adult's mind. Think of it. Millions of minds, all over the world, all running on parallel tracks, controlled and channeled to work for the solidarity of our glorious world state. Your fortune. What an unexpected honor.
New trainees?
Yes, madam. I'm sure you'll recognize her fortune. Magna Mond, resident controller for Western Europe.
New trainees.
How incredibly interesting. Decanted intellectuals, not entirely programmed. Who knows, one day one of you may become one of the 10 world controllers. Perhaps you? Or you? Be seated. You all remember, I suppose, that beautiful and inspired saying of our forts, history is bunk. History is bunk, and that is why you are taught no history. But perhaps today the time has come.
By Ford.
Do you suppose it's true? Those rooms, she's forbidden books, Bibles, and poetry locked away in a vault?
Shh!
Don't worry, Director. I won't corrupt them.
Oh, of course, I would not dare
It is 4 o'clock. Main day shift off duty. Second day shift take over. It is 4 o'clock. Main day shift off duty. Second day shift take over.
Now, do you know the meaning of the word parent? Come. Parent!
Well, human beings used to be viviparous,
Quite right.
and when their babies were decanted,
Born.
when their babies were born, then they were the parents, not the babies, the other ones.
In brief, the parents were the mother and the father. The mother and the father.
Please, ma'am, your language.
These are unpleasant facts, I know. But then again, most historical facts are unpleasant, and that is why the state keeps them from the lower orders. But you are alphas and betas, and if, to make you understand the glorious privilege that you have living in this society, I am obliged to use a little smut, I will use it.
Please, ma'am.
Imagine viviparous families living together. Small, squalid rooms, no air, no space. Just disease, smells, and suffocating intimacies. Dangerous, insane personal relationships.
Polly, it was all a long time ago. You've got to be objective.
Alan Ford, or our Freud, as he called himself when he spoke of psychological matters, was the first one to reveal the appalling dangers of family life. The warped feeling of love directed at a single object eternally. My husband, my wife. No wonder these poor pre-moderns were mad and wicked and miserable. Beset as they were by temptations they were not conditioned to resist. Loneliness, despair, poverty, and worst of all, uncertainty. They were forced to feel strong emotions. Thank Ford for a world in which no efforts have been spared from keeping you from having any emotions at all. Thank Ford for a world in which everyone belongs to everyone else.
Ford's in his liver. All is well with the world.
Consider your own lives. Has any of you ever had to live through an insurmountable obstacle? Or through a prolonged time interval between a desire and its fulfillment?
Well,
Speak up. Don't keep a fortune waiting.
I once had to wait for a friend for about 4 weeks. It was very antisocial on her side.
I wasn't being antisocial. I just happened to be very busy at the time.
You said so, but the truth was you just didn't like me.
How dare you accuse me of being selective?
Please, control yourself in front of the controller.
I don't care. My hypnomedical training was just as good as hers. Where does she go
That will do. And due to this unfulfilled
when the first reformers came along and offered to deliver our ancestors from these dreadful emotions, they wouldn't have anything to do with them. Sleep teaching was prohibited. The caste system, continually proposed, continually rejected. You wouldn't believe it, but there was something called democracy, which pretended that men were something more than physico-chemically equal. Yes, we have come a long way.
You're late, Lenina. The controller came to the trainee class. Who are you going out with tonight?
Nobody. I've been feeling out of sorts lately. Dr. Wells even advised me to have a pregnancy substitute.
Oh, that's such a bother, taking all those pills and ovary extract and all.
I know, but if it makes you feel better. Suppose you've got a date?
Mm-hmm.
Who with?
Henry Foster.
Again? Are you still going out with that Henry Foster?
It's only been 4 months I've been seeing him.
Only 4 months? I like that. And I bet there hasn't been anyone else in all that time, has there?
Hand me the surrogate violet perfume host, Fanny. It's on your side.
Answer me.
No, there hasn't been anyone else. And I don't see why there should have been.
She doesn't see why there should have been somebody else. Only 4 months? Little more than a weekend. Seriously, Lenina, you've got to be careful. You know how strongly the director objects against anything long-lasting. If he knew, he'd be furious.
Why would he have to know?
They always find out. Besides, you don't have to give Henry up. Just see somebody else from time to time, that's all. He sees other girls, doesn't he?
Yes.
Of course. Trust Henry Foster to be the perfect gentleman. Always correct. And you've got to think of the director. You know what a stickler...
He painted my cheek this afternoon.
There you have it. That shows what he stands for. The strictest conventionality. It's not as though it would be disagreeable, seeing other men. You owe it to yourself, Lenina, to your reputation, to be a little more promiscuous.
Oh, Fanny. Sometimes I just don't feel like bothering. Haven't you ever felt like that?
No. I hate to say it, Lenina, but you're just lazy.
I suppose you're right. Maybe a change would pick me up. But who? Do you happen to know Bernard Marx?
Him? Huh. You're better off just seeing Henry.
He's an Alpha Plus. Besides, he already asked me to go to the Savage reservations with him. I've always wanted to see a Savage reservation.
Not Bernard Marx. You know they say he made a mistake when he was still in the fertilizing room? Thought he was a gamma with alcohol in his blood surrogate?
Vicious gossip. Why are people so nasty?
Because they're people. You can't be seen with Bernard Marx.
Well, I want to go see his Savage reservation. I don't even know anyone who's ever been there, and I'm going.
Going to the Phillies tonight, Henry? I mean, there's a great one in the Palace. There's this scene when Bearskin Run, I hear, is actually fantastic.
Oh, yes.
They say, yeah, well, they say you can feel everything in the drug.
Yeah, I want to see that, but Lenina prefers to play obstacle golf tonight.
Still seeing Lenina?
Oh, yes. Great girl. Pneumatic.
I bet she is.
What do you mean, you bet? You mean to tell me that you and Lenina never...
No, no special reason.
Oh, well, you should.
Okay, you say so, I will.
Disgusting! You talk about her as though she's a piece of meat. You degrade her.
No, Ma, I mean right away, Nero. She's your kind of girl.
Okay, thanks for the suggestion.
You're welcome, buddy.
The beginning of true civilization came 141 years after our Ford gave the world the Model T. In AF 141, the Great Economic Collapse, the choice between world control and destruction, between stability and anarchy, set up in AF 146, the 9 Years' War. Conscientious objectors demanded culture, demanded books, until the British Museum massacre. 5,000 literalists were gassed. Libraries all over the world in Moscow went up in flames. Present methods came into being. Ectogenesis, neo-Pavlovian conditioning, hypnopedic tapes.
Everyone belongs to everyone else.
You'll only get into trouble, Lenina. I give up.
A campaign against the past. All books published before AF 150 suppressed.
Everyone works for everyone else. We can't do without anyone.
You look grouchy, Marx. What you need is a gram of Solya.
No, thank you.
There was a thing called Christianity. All crosses had their tops cut off and became T's. There was also a thing called God.
It was you who said I should be seeing someone besides Henry.
There was a thing called heaven, but they drank alcohol and took drugs.
Take it! Take it!
1 cubic centimeter cures 10 gloomy sentiments.
And now, even old age has been conquered. We are the same at 60 as we were at 17.
I love new clothes. We throw away old clothes. Ending is better than mending.
Get out of my way, damn you!
A gram is better than a dime.
Now old men work like the young, old men play like the young. No leisure from pleasure.
No leisure from pleasure.
And if, by some unlucky accident, there's a moment alone, a moment of sadness or frustration,
There is always Soma.
1 cubic centimeter cures 10 gloomy sentiments.
Half a gram for an evening, 1 gram for a weekend, 2 grams for a week, and 3 for a trip to the moon!
Everyone belongs to everyone else.
Supreme serenity! And best of all, there is no time to think.